Carson Wentz fractured his finger, could miss some time. Taylor Heineke in 2 QB leagues will be pretty interesting, I imagine. Kenny Pickett left in the third quarter with a possible concussion, and Mitchell Trubisky came in and played well and, won them the game. And their defense.
Boy, did he make some throws. It was pretty incredible.
Yeah, he really did.
Late in the game.
Skylar Thompson for the Dolphins. He left early in the game, and Teddy Bridgewater came in, played most of the game, and Tyreek Hill and Jaylen Waddle had huge games. Cam Akers, guys, he could get traded. Looks like he may have played his last snap for the Rams. Henderson, we'll talk about him a little bit later. Obviously, huge boost for him. But if you have Cam Akers, and we'll have time to talk about this before waivers run, but hold or drop Cam Akers.
I'd like to. At this point, it's going to come down to what's on the waiver wire and what your needs are. I would like to hold him, but I don't like. I think Dave said this morning. I think it's far more likely Cam Akers is getting cut than traded. Can't imagine someone's going to give up a draft pick for him.
Is there a scenario? I was trying to think. We talked about this morning on our live stream. Where could he go that's a boost for him? What destination?
Well, I think probably any team he goes to will have a better offensive line.
Maybe, but
that's not a joke. Where does he third string right guard and their third string left tackle? I think. They have the worst offensive line in football right now. I think. Except
they went into today's game with the 10th highest run blocking grade on PFF, which didn't make any sense. And then Frank said on Football Outsiders they had they were 28th in one of those metrics. So I think that made more sense. But yeah, but can he walk into a situation and be a starter? Where would he go? The Dolphins?
No, he might have a spot where he can be part of a rotation in Miami. We don't know what the Dobbins injury is, so maybe Baltimore makes some sense. Maybe if does he replace Sony Michel with the Chargers? It's something like that. He's not going to go anywhere where he's going to immediately establish himself as the main guy. And you know what? He hasn't earned it. He hasn't looked good on a consistent basis to warrant it. And if he did, the Rams wouldn't be trying to trade him. So it feels like something went down during the week of practice, and the Rams are tired of him because they figure we can win without this guy, and now they're trying to trade him and get him somewhere. But I don't see where there's a team where he can go to where his fantasy value is going to be particularly good.
All right, and J.K. Dobbins did not play in the second half as his knee tightened up on him. Kenyon Drake had 119 rushing yards in this game, and Dobbins is one of our losers. Obviously very tough to trust him. We'll wait for more information, but it stinks. We were hopeful for Dobbins to get going at this point, and it's just not happening. Jaylen Waddle hurt his shoulder. He said he was good after the game. We don't know what the case is. Marquise Brown, I just mentioned, he hurt his foot, left in a walking boot. X-rays were negative. That was very late in the game. Cameron Brate, man, hope he doesn't have another concussion. He just missed time with the concussion. He left late in the game with a head injury. And as soon as he left, Kate Otten had 2 catches late in the game. Brandon Ayuk returned, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Deion Jackson. Wow, what a great game for Deion Jackson. Absolute stud. And he left. And then he came back, and then he left again with a quad injury very late in the game. It might not matter because we're hoping Jonathan Taylor plays in week 7, but that was a tough break. All right, let's do a segment.
Did you get PJ Walker?
Oh, that's right. He left with a concussion, right?
The strangest thing I've ever seen, he got just obliterated by Jalen Ramsey on a blitz, helmet to helmet. Said he didn't have a concussion, it looked like, but it was helmet to helmet and vicious, so they made him come off the field. But how do you have a helmet to helmet collision inside the pocket that forces the quarterback to leave the game that is not flagged?
Yeah. I'd like to, and then you had that tripping that on Chris Jones that wasn't called. And I'd like to just say, I really think that we could make just about everything reviewable if the people reviewing the plays didn't take their sweet ass time when everybody watching at home can tell in 5 seconds what happened. And the replay officials take 2 minutes to make these simple calls. Remember when they made pass interference reviewable a couple of years ago? And you're sitting there, you're watching, goes, oh, no, that was not pass interference. And they don't overturn it. Like, what are you doing? We all can see it. Why do they Why do it have to be so meticulous? Just it's common sense. Just make have somebody reviewing it.
It's not
make
that easy.
Call, change it in 5 seconds. Whatever. Adjust the time. It could take 30 seconds. We could do it. Heath, we can do this. Be a dreamer.
We can't. Because if you were the person making that decision, you could be confident that you were right 100% of the time. And 60% of the time, half of Twitter would think you were wrong.
There are such common sense, obvious situations, though.
That
like
they get
Chris
wrong
Jones
every single week.
Did Chris Jones trip Josh Allen? Yes.
Yes.
That could have taken 10 seconds. It could have taken 10 seconds to flag. You know? I don't know. I think they make it a little bit too complicated than it needs to be.